I would like to call to order the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners Transportation Committee. And at this point, it is 3:20. And next, I would need a roll call.
Commissioner Steer.
Here.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Here.
Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Laring.
Here.
Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Pego.
Here.
Commissioner, excuse me, Chairman Skolnick.
Excuse.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here. Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes of June 17th, 2021 meeting.
Support.
Support. We have no support. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have two informational items. Number 4. First is the Transportation Operating Report, July 2021. And these are for information. These would be filed. We have 2 of them for your convenience to review. Next, on the, we need a roll call or anything like that. That's just
Roll file.
okay. Thank you. Number 5, public comment on an agenda item. Is there any public comment on the agenda item at this point? I'll open up the floor.
Nope.
Nope. Thank you. Next items, we have a couple items for consideration this afternoon. First one is TR 21/08-21 to accept the fourth amendment to the service facility lease agreement between the County of Muskegon and Safe Light Fulfillment Inc. to extend the lease from August 1st, 2021 to July 31st, 2023 of the 2 small stall garages and small offices located on 102 St. Clair Drive, North Shores, Michigan 54441 on the grounds of the Muskegon County Airport. This lease amended includes a CPI adjustment and has been agreed by the leasee. The motion is support.
So each year. So moved.
Support.
So do we have any questions, comments, or?
I do have
Oh,
one
I'm sorry.
question.
Yes.
Is this the normal time that we will renew this, or is this being renewed for some other reason?
Bob Lukens, Community Development Director. This is the normal time. We're a bit behind schedule because they were reviewing the contracts or I'm sorry, the lease. So we're a bit behind schedule. That's why the lease.
And the only change is CPI.
Correct. Yes, and actually we were able to negotiate a little bit higher.
Nice job.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rock. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? No? Okay, I need a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring.
Yes.
Commissioner Nash.
Yes.
Commissioner Pego.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Steer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes. That moves forward. Next item for consideration, TR 21/08-22 to approve the construction contract with Cortez and Sons and the amount of $122,189 to remove the existing airport rotating beacon structure and light and replace it with a new beacon tower and controls. This motion was approved on June 15th, 2021, full board meeting, motion 2021-244. So we need a motion of support.
So moved.
So moved. And we have any questions? Just
Need a support.
Supported.
I'm sorry, we have the motion. of
I didn't hear a support.
Also.
Okay.
My question is about the functioning of the beacon. I mean, is that where the air controllers are?
No, that's the air traffic control tower. The
Oh.
beacon is on the, what side would that be? That would be the east side of the airport,
Okay.
over near the cemetery in Norton Shores there. There is currently there's a functioning beacon there, but the FAA is requiring a new tower and a new beacon at that site.
So where does the light come from when we're in the process of building the new beacon?
That's a good question. I believe they'll be able to
Because it's
switch it
going to
out.
be on
in
the
one
same
day.
site.
Yes, but they'll be constructing a foundation for the new beacon because it'll be a single pole as opposed to like a tower structure.
So it's a separate pole.
Yes,
So the other one will stay in place until the new one's
Right.
Okay, so same location as general.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's a spot of land there that has the tower and there's room around it for them to construct this.
I also have a question if I could. Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner, sorry.
Was it just one bid?
No, there were 3 bids. Cortez is the low bidder. The action that was on June 15th, 2021 was to award the contract to Cortez and Sons. This is the construction contract.
Oh, this is the, did we get bids on the construction contract?
I don't believe so, because they were awarded the contract as the low bidder. So they're performing the construction.
And why did they have to bid it again?
They did, this is the contract.
Oh, this is the original
Yeah.
contract.
Yes, this is
Okay.
there was, they won the bid, or they were the low bidder for the project, and this is the actual construction contract itself.
Okay, so we did not award it to them yet.
We awarded,
That's what I thought. We awarded it to them, so why are we doing it again?
because we awarded it to them to perform the service. Now, this is the actual contract itself for the construction.
But we don't see it.
So this amount was already included in their bid?
It was, yes, 122, 180.
Okay. Okay. all right.
Mr. Luke, is this the construction tower is 100% MDOT grant fund?
Right.
Also.
Yes.
Okay. That was discussed prior. Commissioner Hughes, you're okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
I'd actually
Yes.
like to follow up on the question. So I read this initially and it seems odd to me. So they were the low bidder.
Yes,
They were awarded the contract.
yes.
What is, we've already, I mean, I agree with your question.
Yeah,
Even
there's
the
no
wording of
contract
this is
here.
odd.
Yeah.
I mean, why would we re-approve a contract for something we already approved? I'm not tracking with this.
Well, they awarded the bid to them. The job was awarded to Cortez and Son, but this is the actual construction contract.
Have they performed the work yet?
No,
I don't get that either.
This.
So
this
we
is
have this with
normally how
other
they come
contracts? I don't
forward with.
recall.
Well, I completely understand what
I'm
you're saying,
sorry.
Mr. Lukens.
Okay, Commissioner Nash, you had that question.
I think this is, we're probably not remembering, but we did the same thing when we had to do transportation. We had them come and bring a proposal, and then they ended up winning the proposal, and then Jim went back and had to get the contract together, and then we had to approve the actual contract for the dollar amounts. So it's always been a normal process, and we've always done, it's just, we probably forgot.
Well, they actually did a design too, right? And then the contract was drafted.
yes.
So,
Yeah, the design was completed. The architecture and engineering was completed for that project, yes.
And this
I
is.
mean, it kind
over-
of goes along with the second
Yes,
motion as well.
yeah, the motion after that is regarding the consultant agreement with CMS Engineering to provide construction management services to make sure that everything is built to spec for the airport beacon and for the crack seat.
so it sounds like some redundancy when I'm hearing from
Yeah.
the approval. And this is, you're following up, I know you are, the policy that the board has set. Maybe we need to kind of review that a little bit. more.
And what I'll do is bring up the one from June 15, 21 and have that in front of us as well. So you see what we did then.
And what was there before? Okay, thank you.
I'll have that to you before full board.
Would that help?
But Mr. Lucas, this is also part of the process we have to follow regarding getting this funding, right?
Correct, for the
So it's
FAA.
not really our policy, but we develop it based on what we have to do.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay, well, thank you. Okay. Any other questions, comments? No. I think a roll call vote for item number 22.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes,
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Steer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes, thank you. And that moves forward. Next item for consideration is TR 21/08-23 to amend the lump sum consultant agreement for professional design and engineering services for the airport beacon replacement project to include construction administration and observation services in the amount of $25,017.
So moved.
Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair.
I guess I'm a little confused. Consultant agreement, doesn't this fall under the Cortez contract we just talked about? Isn't that part of their responsibility?
No, this is actually the construction management services. So as they build the beacon tower and, set the foundations and such, that has to be checked over by the engineering firm to be sure it's up to spec.
Wouldn't Cortez include that as part of their quotation, or that's not normally how that?
That's not normal how it works.
I have a question.
Yes.
It doesn't say if it's going up or down.
Oh, the amendment.
The price?
The first one that was approved was for architecture and engineering for
It says move to
$19,800.
amend the lump sum consult for professional design to include, and what doesn't say, is it going up or down?
Yeah, this is,
Are we giving them more money or are they giving us?
no, this is a
crediting us?
separate portion of the project. So,
No, you said it's going to amend.
well, it's an amendment to the larger contract.
Is it going up or down?
It's a separate portion of that. So they've already completed the architecture and engineering, and this is the construction management.
It doesn't make any sense then.
You
Joel, I
started to say,
believe, is
Mr.
on the
Luke, you
line.
started to say the first one was for 19,000 something, but you didn't
just said
finish.
that was,
What
That was
was
for architecture and engineering, the first portion of that.
So the first portion was 19,000
Yes.
something.
But it still doesn't say if it's going to be raised, the contract is going to be raised 25,000 or it's going to be reduced 25,000.
No, it's gonna go out.
17.
I agree, sorry.
Well, Joel, I believe, is on here. Joel Burgess. He could probably explain this a bit better than I.
Are you with us, Joel? You can
Yep, he's on
clarify.
there.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So CNS is our engineering firm of record here at the airport. They provide these MDOT sponsored contracts, usually in two different phases. So the first phase and the first contract that was approved by the airport was for the A&E piece of it. This is a movement to amend, and I can see and understand the comment. It's a move to increase the contract agreement price in the amount of $25,017. And what that is it's the second half of the contract. CNS will be the airport's representative while the tower and the beacon is being placed for construction management services, but it also includes all of the MDOT closeout process, the grant administration, and to assist the airport through the reimbursement process. So this is just the second half of the contract for our engineering firm of record.
Thank you. I'd like to make an amendment to the motion that it says move to amend and increase the lump sum consultant agreement. So that when future people look at this, they'll realize that we're increasing it instead of decreasing it.
So we have
Second.
a motion and then second on the floor.
I think that's
Well, ma'am.
important to put that in there.
Any other questions? If not, we can ask a roll call for that.
Just one question.
Yes.
I guess making sure we're following whatever MDOT guidelines is. Does this have any legal impact on what we're doing here?
Joel, do you know the answer to that? Joel, are you still there?
Yeah, I was just waiting for the request. So yes, this very much follows the MDOT process. That's one of the nice things about having CNS assist us with it. Part of their task with us is to make sure that we're following the process step by step. So that's why this is important to have them on board throughout the process, from the A&E all the way through the construction management and then grant reimbursement process.
Joel, we're asking if we put the word increase, the design and engineering services in there, if that word will change anything at all.
Looking at the motion, I don't believe it would, as long as, again, we're moving to amend the lump sum consultant agreement in the increased amount of 25,017. I believe that's okay. We can certainly check between now and the board meeting, however.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'd like to, just so that it's clear whether we're raising it or getting credit.
I
Sure.
agree.
So the motion on the table is to amend it to include the increase to 25,000. So that's what we'll be,
We have to vote on that
Five.
first.
525.
525.
525.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Big difference.
All in, need a roll call vote? Oh, voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Doesn't it have money in it? Doesn't.
Not,
Yeah,
not
no,
just
The
the
amendment was
amendment.
just to add the word
Now we have
increase.
to vote on the
We
whole
can
thing.
still do it here.
Okay.
So roll call it.
Oh,
Okay. All right. Thank you. So we're on the 24.
Main
No,
motion.
we got a
Yes, the main motion,
Main
23.
motion.
main motion. So the main motion is up
Mhm.
for
Roll call on that one.
on the roll call on the main motion. Thank you.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes,
Commissioner Wilkins.
yes.
Commissioner Steer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Leering,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes, thank you. All right, moving right along, TR 21/0824, to authorize Matts to dispose of the bus shelter located at the Muskegon Heights Farmers Market site by providing the city of Muskegon Heights the option to take possession of it for market use or by removing it if the city does not desire it.
So moved.
Support.
Support, thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns at this point? Marcia, over to you.
Just like to hear from Realestein. Are you okay with this?
Well, my concern is what's going to happen, or if it's going to become a hangout where people are hanging out around there, or what, I don't know what. the
If we remove it, if the Heights doesn't want it, then we'd remove it and it wouldn't be. Yeah.
If it were just removed, I think that would be better than having the people just sitting around there, because it was unattractive before, and if we're not using it, then it's gonna get worse.
Jim?
Mr. Coons, you might have had some clarification on that.
Thank you, Commissioners. Jim Coons, Muskegon Area Transit System. I think to Commissioner Wilkins' point, we are not really using this shelter right now. It's 30 feet back off the road, maybe 40. We are not currently having buses on site at the market, and we're not having significant transfer activity. We used to have as many as 4 buses that would meet there, and people would get on and off while they waited. So what we would like to do is remove it, and it is a fixed asset on our records, so we're coming to you for permission to remove it from our records. There has been expressed some interest in the past from the city of Muskegon Heights about maybe making that a part of their farmers market, where they could have something inside the 4 walls of that shelter. And that's why we want to offer them the opportunity if they want to take it over. And if they don't, we would remove it and dispose of it for scrap value.
Commissioner Wilkins, does that
Is it a
answer,
building?
does that answer your question? or-
Address.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any,
Mr. Chair.
yes,
Mr. Coons, is this, have you been in contact with the city of Muskegon Heights yet, or you're here first?
I know there's been expressed interest. I think the administrator spoke with the manager at one point about perhaps interest, and I had spoken to the previous manager at one point about perhaps having
I was just
interest.
wondering if they're aware that this was on the agenda today and they might be on the call.
I did not bring that to
Oh,
them
okay.
prior to today. We're asking for your
Okay,
approval. Essentially what it is when we put it in, we just use the market awning, the roof of the market, and we had custom fabricated walls put up around a 20 by 20 area with plexiglass and aluminum framing. So it would just be a matter of removing the walls and removing any benches that we don't want to be responsible for long term. Again, they've expressed in the past it might fit in with some market plans, but they're not currently doing anything with the market properties right now.
thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Whose property does this sit on right now?
So the property is owned by the city of Muskegon Heights, and we executed a no-cost agreement with them in 2010 to be able to place this there and utilize it.
So you're just, it has nothing to do with the property. There's no lease agreements. It's just removed this structure.
Yeah, it's an asset on our fixed records as a structure, as a expenditure we made, and we just would like to remove it.
Commissioner Nash, is your question? Okay, good. All right. Any other? No. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Voice vote,
Need a, what's that?
voice vote.
Oh, we need a, we need a voice, we need a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, next item for consideration is to authorize MATS to enter into interlocal agreement with Harbor Transit Multimodal Transportation System to facilitate connection of the MATS Go-To program and the Harbor Transit program at Spring Lake Fire Station 2 on 174th Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
Second, thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this item?
I just have one comment.
Yes,
I'm really glad to see, us working with our neighbors and providing services to and from Muskegon County and
thank you.
I didn't see anything regarding this agreement.
Yeah, what, Mr. Coons?
Sure. So an interlocal agreement is something, it's kind of a technicality that the Michigan Department of Transportation likes to have on file. And essentially, it just documents that we as a transit system will be entering another transit system's territory, and that they're okay with it, and we're okay with it, and we're not going to charge them to do it, and they're not going to charge us to do it, and we're not going to hold them liable for our drivers' activities, et cetera. It's basically just saying, we agree to come into your area, you agree to have us in your area. We would be traveling approximately 1,700 feet into northern Ottawa County. Yeah, it would just be one point at the Spring Lake Township Fire Station for us to be able to drop people and pick people off.
Mr. Coons, you said that you explored some options that were in Muskegon County, but it wasn't feasible.
Well, obviously now with the Go-To program in place, we have the ability to touch each other's service area at the corner of Grand Haven Road and Wilson, which is the county line. However, there's just not a good spot for somebody to get off and wait at that corner. So we're asking to go just across the line. We hope to work with the Spring Lake Township officials and be able to put a shelter in or something there in conjunction with Harbor Transit.
So I just want to make sure that that's was addressed, obviously. Commissioner,
Yeah, can we assume that this is a first step towards combining the systems?
You know what happens when we assume. Yeah, this is a long desired thing to be able to connect. Had we done an interlocal agreement 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it just would have looked different. It would have been maybe a bus traveling across on a route, or them sending a bus up to the Honolulu corridor where we were. So obviously this is just a 1,700-foot step for man and a giant leap for our.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Fago, you had a question?
Yeah, probably 2 in 1. This says non-budgeted. This isn't gonna cost
No,
us
there's no
anything,
cost to
right?
it.
So the structure that's to be built, that's not gonna be on our county either. right?
No, it would be something that we may work with Harbor Transit to place at the fire station. We have a potential shelter in stock that we could put there. I might ask them to lay the concrete or something like that, but I don't expect any expense.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay,
Chair,
Commissioner Sear.
Mr. Coons, do you know where we're at with, I know there's, we're working on this transitioning possibly to an authority. Do you know where we're at with that whole thing? You got any updates?
The study, is that what you're?
Yeah, the study.
I would defer, I don't have a lot of updates on it. I don't know if the administrator wants to share anything at this point. They are engaged with a consultant.
Right.
And they're beginning their review process to have meetings and look at options.
Okay.
Right, we asked the same question for this meeting with Aaron Kuhn, and
Right, okay.
as he said, the company's been hired, they're starting on interviews. And they're starting to schedule interviews with the managers of each facility and stakeholders. And then will be reached out to those municipalities who affect their residents in their city limits. So yes, it's moving forward with interviews.
Isn't that going through Windsor, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So we'll get updates at Windsor.
Yeah,
But I
okay.
have a transportation policy board meeting next week Wednesday.
Commissioner Nash had a question.
I was just wondering, because of this interlocal agreement, have we had any discussions with Harbor Transit about the ability to be able to possibly maybe extend some of these folks that you're dropping off with their own rights?
Well, we've had a discussion about the ability to connect now and how can we best handle that in terms of a location. So now what it would become is we still would not be handing off customers per se.
Right.
But a customer would be able to make their own travel plans, to use our system to get there, and then to contact their system to continue their travel.
Right, that's what I was wondering.
So they're aware, and they're the ones that recommended this site, because we talked about options in the area, and they said that Spring Lake Township may be willing to work with us.
And I just wanted to follow up on that because there's some restrictions with our service. And do you know if they have any restrictions with their service about locale, living areas, whatever? And have we had any other municipalities or townships that became partners within this new microtransit system?
So I don't know verbatim the Harbor Transit Service area boundaries, but my understanding is they're a dial-a-ride system. And so somebody using their system could access their area. In terms of us having any add-ons to our program yet, there have really been no discussions about it. We're only 45 days live, and so we're getting our feet under us. And nobody's approached me to add on yet. A lot of customers asking me when we're going to go everywhere else.
Right.
But no official discussions about it.
Thank you. Any other, if not, I'm going to ask all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can we have a roll call just because this is an important vote?
Anybody can call for a roll call vote.
I will call for a roll call vote.
All right.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Steer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes. That moves forward.
Yay.
Thank you, everyone. Any unfinished business to come to the committee or to discuss? Nope, not seeing any. New business, any new business to the transportation? No. And public comment? Do we have any public comment?
None online.
Not seeing any?
Nope.
All right, thank you. Any final board comments?
Jared,
Yes,
I'd
Mr.
like to make a comment. Bob, it's not intended to be a criticism, but all three of these motions, 22, 23, and 24, seem to contain some confusing language. The 22, what confused me about this was the action was approved by the June 15th board. I don't know why that needed to be included in there. Maybe that was a selling point that we'd already looked at it, but it added confusion for me as to contractually why that's in there. I think this idea of Susie's to amend that motion to say increase was valuable and probably should have been in there. I understand it was a lump sum contract, but we are adding into it. So just I don't know. I don't know that you need to sell this to us, that we already approved it once. So let's move forward with it. Let's just get the facts in the paper. Let us haggle over it.
We'll take that. Thank you. We're good. Okay. Any other final board comments?
One for you. So we have our work session, but it's gonna be a walking work session across the street. So everybody knows where the HR building is? It's the first building you come to. So if you drive through the light, you take a left right there. It's that building there. There's enough room for everybody to park or more welcome to walk. And then Matt Fair will begin the tour, I'd say in 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's all we're doing today? We're not doing any discussion?
That's correct.
Transit system, they could shuttle us across.
Yeah.
Yeah, where is the go
All the
bus?
go buses, will you, Bob?
The staff walk around all the time.
I'm gonna, adjourn the meeting.
Yes, now, some folks ask, were we doing the tour outside or inside or both? Yes.
I think. both.
Well, it's both, because you're going, walking through the building, and then you're gonna be walking outside to the next building.
All
You
in
know,
favor of
pointing
adjourning
out
the
stuff
meeting?
along the way.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
So move.
So moved.
Second.
Hey, Bob.
Any
Adjournment
opposed?
is at the call of the chair.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you.
Chair.